Welcome to the YouTube channel of Legally Trust. This video is one of the series of educational videos that will be available on this channel under the category General Awareness.
Hello friends, in this video we will be covering trespass to person as a tort. Trespass to person has three main components: battery, assault and false imprisonment. We will be covering all these three in detail in this video. Battery. The wrong of battery consists of an intentional application of force to another person without any lawful justification. This is the definition of battery in tort. There are two main essential components for a battery to constitute as a tort: use of force and without lawful justification. Now, use of force. Even though the force used is very trivial and does not cause any harm, the wrong is still constituted as a battery, as long as there is an intention to cause harm to another. The physical hurt to the receiver is not necessary to be established. Bodily contact is not necessary either. Without lawful justification. There is no proper reason for intentionally using force against another. Lawful justification may be justified when a drowning person is being pulled out of water or being forcibly fed during hunger strikes, as was established in the famous case of Lee versus Gladstone. Another landmark case, like Stanley versus Powell, wherein Powell, who was a member of the shooting party, fired at an animal, but the bullet deflected from the rifle and hit another member of the party, who was Stanley. It was held that this act of Powell was not battery, as there was no intentional use of force and he was not held liable. The second under trespass to person is assault. Assault is an act of the defendant which causes to the plaintiff reasonable apprehension of the infliction of a battery on him by the defendant. When the defendant by his act creates an apprehension in the mind of the plaintiff that he is going to commit battery against the plaintiff, the wrong of assault is completed. In assault, there is an attempt to cause harm, but the harm has not been caused yet. There is a doubt created in the mind of the plaintiff, and this doubt should be reasonable. It is essential that the defendant should be able to execute the intended battery. For example, it is not assault when a 5-year-old comes towards an adult with their hands fisted. Mere verbal threat is not assault as long as the plaintiff feels that there will be immediate use of force. This is called the prima facie ability to cause harm to the plaintiff. In a landmark case of Stephen versus Myers, the plaintiff and the defendant were a part of a meeting along with 6 other members. In this, the defendant advanced towards the plaintiff with a clenched fist due to some disagreement, and he was held liable for assault afterwards. Generally, assault precedes battery. Showing a clenched fist is assault, but punching the plaintiff becomes battery. But this isn't always the case, as a person punching from behind does not constitute assault, but there is battery. Third, under trespass to person is false imprisonment. False imprisonment consists of the imposition of a total restraint for some period, however short, upon the liberty of another without sufficient lawful justification. This is not imprisonment in the ordinary sense, but when a person is either confined or restrained from being able to freely move around without lawful justification. There are two main essentials for a tort to constitute as false imprisonment: total restraint on the liberty of another and without sufficient lawful justification, that is unlawful detention. Total restraint. The tort of false imprisonment is constituted when there is total restraint and not only partial. This position is different in criminal law, as total restraint and partial restraint are both offences under IPC. For this tort, a person should have been deprived completely of his liberty to move beyond certain limits. Use of physical force isn't necessary, but the threat to use force if the person goes beyond a certain area is enough to constitute as a tort. In the case of Bird versus Jones, a part of the bridge was closed by the defendant, maybe unlawfully, but this is not false imprisonment under civil law, as the plaintiff was free to go other directions. There should be means of escape, and the means of escape should be intelligible to the person who was free to go other ways. The second is unlawful detention, that is, without sufficient lawful justification. There should be a valid legal reason behind restraining a person. Knowledge of being confined has a difference of opinion, as in the case of Herring versus Boyle, wherein knowledge of confinement was held essential, whereas in Meering versus Graham White Aviation, knowledge was not necessary to prove false imprisonment. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it was informative.
Hope the information contained in this video was useful to you. We look forward to each one of your support and cooperation in making this initiative a success. For more details about the trust, do visit us at www.legalaidtrust.in. Kindly subscribe this channel and click on the bell icon to get the latest updates about various law-related educational videos. Thank you for watching us and have a good day.